Tory Lowe Show. Pop Culture Report brought to you by Benjamin.
It is amazing.
Hey, Benjamin. I think Truth Nation want an apology for you striking out on that hot dog eating contest.
What? Look,
on the 3rd. This is the first time you came back through.
That's true. You know what, Truth Nation?
You can't avoid all of that. You hyped it up.
I hyped it up. I did a good job, though, didn't I?
You did do a good job of hyping it up.
We had a whole audience out there and everything trying to see if Benjamin was going to eat all these hot dogs. I said I was. Look, I thought I could have been the Glizzy champ. Apparently, I'm not. All right? I could only eat 2 hot dogs, y'all. And I will say this, on TV.
I got people texting me talking about where Benjamin at.
That's funny, bro. I thought that stuff was going to be much easier. Like, I didn't think that, chewing fast is going to wear my jaws out, bro. Like I'm like, dog, like to eat that many hot dogs like that fast,
they said Benjamin choked on them hot dogs.
I did. I was, bro. And that was another thing, too. Because if you guys go back and watch the video.
You let Truth Nation down, fam.
Maybe I did. But you know what? I'm over here, trying to stuff my face with some hot dogs. I needed the water. I needed everything. I thought I was a Glizzy champion. I thought that I was going to put about 10 of them things in my mouth and call it a day. Especially when I saw like 7 Glizzies right there, I said this is going to be a cakewalk. That's what I legitimately thought. But if you guys go back and look at the hot dogs that was out there, bro, 2 of them had jalapenos on there. All right, and I know for a fact, me and jalapenos do not mix. All right, although Dog City has some really great hot dogs, has some really great flavors. Like, for real, I wish more hot dog places had flavors like Dog City does. But no, bro, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I tried, but you know what? If y'all so mad at Benjamin that I couldn't put that many Glizzies down my mouth, how about y'all put that many Glizzies down your throat? All right, how about y'all try it out? Okay, how about you put 5 in at the same time and see what happens?
Here we go.
All right, they're going to treat you like you off a Lisbon or something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, man, it really is a sport, and you got to get your jaws together before you put that many Glizzies in your mouth. Women, I don't know how you do it.
Wow.
I really don't. It's a sport.
Oh, wow.
But if you can make that thing disappear, I'm telling you, you crazy.
Here we go. What's going on in these pop culture streets?
Hey, you know what, Tory, you know what, Truth Nation? I've been seeing some things on my Instagrams. Okay, I've been seeing some things on my Facebooks. All right, and one thing that popped out to me is actually kind of sickening, right? It's kind of sickening, but okay. So if you guys don't know, a judge has actually denied Roc Nation and Megan Thee Stallion motion to dismiss a lawsuit where her homosexual cameraman claimed that the twerker, that being Megan Thee Stallion, forced him to watch her have a freak-off.
What?
A freak-off car sex with a woman inside of a moving vehicle while on tour in Spain. This is in 2022. Now, I remember this incident happening. And I think the Tory Lanez thing kind of, blew things over, kind of overshadowed this scenario. But, yeah, a judge basically just dismissed it and said they have to go through with this incident.
Right.
So now we may see Megan Thee Stallion going through some court trials, court proceedings.
This is civil, right?
This is
criminal.
Let's see.
This may be a civil lawsuit.
Yeah, I think this is more so of a civil lawsuit. The judge, going by the name of Judge Woods, says that the cameraman, who is gay, plausibly pleads that the alleged sexual encounter in the SUV in Spain created a hostile work environment based on plaintiff's sexual orientation. So, yeah, maybe this is a civil lawsuit then, Tory. But this is one of these things where, I don't know, man, people get this money, power, and fame, and next thing you know, they go after all the sexual activities they've ever wanted to try out in their life. Megan Thee Stallion allegedly being with a woman.
Why don't you wait?
Wait for what?
Till you get some privacy.
What do you mean?
Why you got to act it out in front of other people?
Folks are superstars, Tory. They trying to get it now. They trying to
Ain't that what Diddy was doing, trying to make people watching and doing all this extra? Like, whatever happened and okay, I like you, let's go back to the crib.
Right.
It used to be songs about let's go back to the hotel. Now they just, wherever I feel free.
I think
that's it. You can go to jail. That's indecent.
You can go to jail. You definitely can.
There's rules
up
against this.
Straight up, man. I think just because our society now is so hypersexual that now it's just like when you get the money, you get the power, you get the fame, you have this inflated idea about yourself, about your own ego, and what you can do. Some people get in those types of arenas and feel invincible. So just like we saw with Diddy, he felt like he was invincible. Nobody would have been able to stop him. Again, same thing with like the previous owners of Abercrombie and Fitch, right? They felt invincible, so they went on to go do
Skip.
Skip Bayless felt invincible.
We almost forgot about Shannon Sharp for a second because. But what I'm saying
is,
what I'm saying is, it's a lot of lawsuits with these people with money because they have money.
Right.
But just because you think you're invincible, you could give somebody the opportunity to come at you legally because you're being reckless.
That's very true. Very true. And I think that's the one thing. You know, in the 48 laws of power, I forget exactly what law of power it is, but it says your reputation is everything. Protect it at all costs. Protect it with your life.
Right.
You know, so when you are a person who does get some kind of power or some kind of influence, understand that everything you do from that point on, somebody may one day, especially because we live in a digital age, may try to take a snippet of what you have said or may take a picture of what you have did. I mean, take a video of what you did, and like you said, make some kind of clickbait out of it, run a whole story on Instagram or Facebook, whatever may have you, throughout the internet. It may or may not be true, but now you have to come to the front of the pulpit to address these concerns because now the public is enraged. So it's just one of them things that, like, now as you step into the limelight, these are even things that I'm telling myself, you know, as I grow a bigger brand, grow bigger into what I am becoming. You know, I'm starting to understand, like, you know what, Ben, you got to dial some things down. When you out here taking pictures of people, is your hand on their shoulder or is it on their hip? If it's on the hip, somebody 20 years from now maybe be like,
you sexually assault them, that you squeezed on the butt cheek.
There you go. Accusations. You ain't finna get that out of Benjamin. Only girl getting that out of me is my woman.
Well, the thing is, where I say, like, now where you see the uncontrollable hypersexuality in the videos and things like that, it's starting to become the norm.
I think it is
like
the norm.
where like I said, here go the programming again.
Right.
Everybody just wild and, you know, want that wild and crazy moment. And that could cost them, if you got
everything.
money.
Yeah, it could cost you literally everything. You know, just like the lady who came up here for Sherwin Hughes last week, right? It could have costed her everything. You know, by breaking through security barriers, just because you feel some type of way that you feel that you're supposed to be in certain areas, you know, knocking on a man's door. You know,
oh, wow.
that could have cost that woman everything. It could have cost her job. So, you know, as you grow up in life, Truth Nation and all the listeners out there, make certain that you are moving responsibly. Make certain that you are moving coherently. Do you really understand the situation that you are in? And if you do, play it correctly.
Right.
Because whatever may happen, somebody may use some things against you. Again, when it comes down to Megan Thee Stallion, possibly, allegedly, you know, having some sexual fornicating ideas with a woman in the backseat of a car in Spain, her cameraman says he has all this on tape and he was forced to watch. So it's one of these things that, like, Megan, if this is true, if the cameraman caught it, I don't think there's a way you're getting out of it. Okay,
but that was her personal camera.
That was her personal cameraman, and he may have it on footage. And
if he got the tape, did she let him record? Well, why did he record it though?
Ooh.
Like, he could act like, you know.
I'm telling you, Megan Thee Stallion forced me to sit around, and I'm the cameraman. Click, click.
Oh, okay.
We are getting
TMZ.
This. We are getting this right now.
What?
I'm going to zoom in. I am zooming in.
Oh, wow.
Because this footage right here, shoot, I might start my own OnlyFans. That might be the only video on the OnlyFans. That's all you need. And you be set for life. So, hey.
Right next to the Mr. Hooks.
Hey, right next to the Mr. Hooks joint. Yeah, make sure you go ahead and follow me. You know what I'm saying? But it's just one of the things where, again, like I said before, I think that, you know, Americans have become hypersexualized. I'm talking masculine and feminine. Ideas have become so hypersexualized that we are willing to do more risque things, even when it comes down to, you know, putting our own jobs at risk. You know, there's teachers each and every day that you guys are hearing about who are risking their whole livelihood for some 14-year-old boy. You know, so it's crazy out here, but it's real. It's a real thing, man. And some people have some weird, sick addictions, all right, that actually do belong on a TV show. You know, but they got to challenge those things and they got to face those things, especially when it comes down to somebody having money, power, and some fame. Well, man, you really got to check yourself before you get into
I say this. I like to, when I'm around my friends, my close friends and family, that's when I let my hair down.
I feel that.
Like, if I'm out and it's public, I'm always going to have my guards up. You know what I mean? Because there's always somebody that's looking to do something extra. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to be understanding of the nature of what you're doing. And if it's affecting the culture, no matter if it's negative or positive, somebody's always going to try to say, okay, I'm going to wait for you to make a moment where I can cash in on.
Right. Now, and that's the thing. I think that's what they've even done with like the Michael Jacksons of the world, right? And some people would say that's how Diddy got this far in his trial or whatever, right? The things happened with Cassie.
But he had text messages too to really prove the intent.
Yeah, to prove the intent.
Yeah,
and you know those things end up happening. Cassie ends up saying, "Hey, we don't have to go to court. We can do a $30 million settlement." And in less than 24 hours, Diddy went and settled with her because he knew that she had a lot of dirt on him.
But it still happened.
It still happened.
So do he get to revoke the money he?
Well, I don't think so because the state picked it up. It wasn't like Cassie still.
But she still spoke and talked against him.
That's a good question.
Do he get to renege on the contract? Now?
Right. That's a good question. I think that's something for his lawyers then.
Right.
Because they were definitely looking into those things. I mean, not even just.
What if she was summoned and she had to speak?
Right. But what I'm saying is if she was summoned and she had to speak and does that interfere with the NDA?
Mm-hmm. Good question.
They can challenge it.
Mm-hmm. No, they can challenge that. But, you know, again, it's just, man, why even put yourself in these predicaments, man? Like,
but you got a right to remain silent, too.
You do got the right to remain silent, but before even
and
all
you
that,
could always plead the fifth, too.
But before all of that, it's just like, dog, you really need to just not put yourself in those bad situations. It's just like, you know, just being out here in the streets, man. And people talking about, oh, well, I feel like I need a gun. Well, hey, if where you going, you feel like you need a gun, you shouldn't be there. Don't put yourself in those predicaments for people to use things against you. I think that's just, you know,
I'll
just
say
being
this.
responsible.
A lot of times people intentionally go where they know is drama.
That's real.
Some people
love the drama.
Some people love the drama. I can't wait till I see. You know how I didn't heard so many folks say, I can't wait till I see them tonight. I be like, who you talking about? They be like, oh, this such and such and such. I say, how you know they supposed to see? They be wanting that. You could go the opposite direction and have a good time, but some people are seeking the confrontation. I know some people that will go where their ex is. They'll find out where their ex going and go out there just for the toxicity.
That's real. That's real. And because that's what some people do thrive off on, right? Like that's what they get off on is and that's how they even live their lives. Like people who love the drama, I stay away from them, Tory. Like I'm not the type of person that like every time you talk to me, I'm talking about such and such.
Right.
And, oh, they did this to me. They did that to me. Now I'm fighting this person. Bro, I'm too grown to be out here fighting people. I ain't gonna look. I'm too. Unless you realize tri-Benjamin, that's the only way you gonna
self-defense.
Yeah, for some self-defense ideas. But am I finna pull up to Deontay? Am I pulling up to Deontay crib, telling him hop off the porch so I can fight you? No, it's not my life, bro. Right. If I really got a real bout with you, I got a problem with you, I'm old enough and mature enough to try to have a conversation with you.
Right.
Now, if I can't have a conversation with you, then maybe I just need to remove myself and remove your stuff from my life. Right. And if, like I said before, unless it comes down to a self-defense idea, then so be it. I got to throw them things, got to throw them hands. But otherwise, I'm too peaceful for all that, man. And I value my peace too much.
You're a lover, not a fighter.
I really am. I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I fight for what I love.